What's good, peoples? Back with another video. Trash quality, you know how it is. Until I get better at this, which I never will, you're gonna keep hearing this shitty sound, shitty background noise, no syncing. Don't worry about it. I've got like one subscriber. You can't expect much from me. In this video, we'll be talking about another character I love deep in my heart, Zaraki Kenpachi, the boy, the man, the legend. Um, I think you can just see with the trend of my videos. I really love these OP, like evil type characters, but I feel like Kenpachi really needs to be dived into in the sense that Kenpachi, when we first got introduced to him, he just appeared to be this super serial killer type fighter. Like he was a contrast to the cool Byakuya and the stoic Yamamotos, the guys, the elites. Nah, he's just like, nah, dog, I'm just trying to kill motherfuckers. He came here looking like he came out of jail. The sword is fucking like chipped. And just his presence alone, everyone knew, oh shit has hit the fan. Even the way he fought Ichigo, it wasn't even a thing of, no, I'm gonna see you, I'm gonna fight you. It was, Ichigo rocks up, he's like, oh, fear. I think I'm going to die. There is a sword in my chest. Fuck. If I'm not even mistaken, he actually dies in that fight. Well, I know it's not really dying, but when someone stabs you through the chest, I feel like you're dead, but Soul Reapers are hard to kill, especially if you're the protagonist. But early on, Zaraki Kenpachi really did embody what it means to be a terrifying swordsman, which also relates back to the origin of the Soul Reapers, where Genyo-san Yamamoto basically said, no, when I'm going to start the Gote 13, I'm going to get the strongest swordsman. To be the strongest swordsman basically meant I'm going to get serial killers, normal murderers, people who love carnage, and that's exactly what we thought Kenpachi was. But then the more we watched the show, the more we got to see more of who Kenpachi really is and his motives. I'm sure to a lot of people his motives seemed, too simplistic. Hey man, he's the fighter of the group. He's the Saiyan. He's just here to get strong fights and move on. And you know what? That is true. That pretty much does just explain everything he is. But I see a little more than that. I think the best example for me would be when he fought against Tosin. That fight really showed that no, he is all about carnage. He has no sense of self-care or, self-preservation. I don't even think he cares about what side he's on. As long as he gets a good fight, he'll be satisfied. Which always raises the question of like, why did he never fight Yamamoto? Or is Yamamoto just that much of a badass that Kenpachi's like, it won't even be a fight? Because he wants to fight someone. He doesn't just want to die. He wants to fight, regardless of who wins and who loses. Now, this fight to me actually kind of, I wouldn't say confused me, but it created the impression that Zaraki just wants to kill people. He wants to win no matter what it takes, even if it means losing an arm, losing a leg, as long as he gets to win. But then we got introduced to the Huecomundo arc, where a lot of people do not like this arc, and I generally don't blame them. There's a lot of reused material, if I can say it so bluntly. And it's also fair to assume most of the captains basically just fought their clones. Not everyone fought their clones, but I do believe that this arc, most of the Espada were just clones of the existing Soul Reapers in terms of personality. I can see why this is a defect, but I kind of saw it as a plus, because what it meant that all the characters that we thought we knew had to fight, or at least we were introduced to people of similar character nature. And by doing this, by putting two things that are similar side by side, you start to see their differences more and more. And because of his encounter with Noitora, it became a thing of, hey, these are two guys who really love fighting. These are two guys who will win no matter what. These are two guys who are going to push 180% in a fight. So, what is the difference between these people? I found that Noitora showed he's willing to win no matter what. Whereas with Kenpachi, he showed that no, he doesn't care about winning. He cares about fighting. Because when Kenpachi beats him, it wasn't a thing of, oh, I'm going to kill him now because I've won. No. The moment he couldn't fight anymore, he himself stopped fighting. He had no enjoyment in fighting someone who's weak. There's no point in it. If Noitora still had stuff left in the chamber, it would have been a death match. The only reason Kenpachi would ever be in a death match is if both participants are being pushed on the edge, or the closer to death they become, the stronger they get, which is his fight with Ichigo. But if he can see that his enemy has basically lost all strength, the fight's over. Regardless of, if there was a job to do, if he has to beat you, no, that doesn't matter. Only thing that matters to him is, I had to beat you, or hell, not even beat you, I just had to fight you. That's all he wanted to do. And I really found that interesting, because there are other characters, there are mirror characters in this arc. Like, for example, you might not know, but Renji represented Grimmjow, Ulquiorra represented Byakuya, etc., etc. But with this one, I found it much more interesting because they actually got to fight each other, which just showed much more of what Kenpachi is. Another interesting fact I learned about Kenpachi was that he really does resemble a Saiyan. Not saying he is one, I'm just saying he resembles it in the sense that with every fight he goes through, he becomes stronger. He lives for the fight. And there is an explanation to why it's like after every fight, after every near-death experience, he becomes stronger than the last time. Because with Saiyans, it's like, the more they fight, the more they get to the brink of death, the stronger they become. And for a while, I thought this was the case for Kenpachi. But thanks to 1,000-Year Blood War, we really learned that that's not even the case. The case is that, which is why he's not a saint, but I personally loved it. It was the fact that, no, with this character, he's always been the strongest. But because of his desire to fight, he mentally weakens himself. And he's not aware of it. He mentally weakens himself just so he can have a longer fight. Just so that he can continue enjoying himself. He's going to restrict himself. And even after all the mental handicaps he's been putting on himself, he still put on physical handicaps, like the eye patch, or the bells in his hair, the fact that it's eating his spiritual pressure, the fact that he's got less visibility. Hell, the fact that he doesn't know how to actually fight with swords, if that makes sense. Because, I don't know if you know this, but also Reapers are required to take like mandatory kendo classes. The Soul Society banned him from doing so because they said if this man learns how to use a sword, he will become too much of a threat for the Soul Society. Which is another case where in the fight against Noitora, the only thing he remembered was that, you have to hold a sword with two hands. Because in his mind, a sword is just something you fling around. But that's just how strong he is. That's just how powerful he is. And I loved it. Because I also love the fact that he represented a different type of fighting style to everyone else. Because everyone relies on the Zanpakuto. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's always nice to have that contrast. It's like the same thing with Lee. It's not exactly the same, but seeing someone specialize in taijutsu in a world full of ninjutsu in Naruto, it just gives more emphasis to the character and it's much more enjoyable to watch. It's a different flavor to enjoy. Not that you didn't like the original flavor, but the new flavor really is enjoyable. But now, with Kenpachi, it was a thing of everyone relies on their Zanpakuto, and he's like, it doesn't matter. What made it better, it wasn't even his. So, him even using the Zanpakuto should never happen. Which, 1,000-Year Blood War just invalidated that. And said, nah, we're gonna give him a Zanpakuto. I'm not gonna go into the details because it's spoiler territory. All I'm gonna really say is, I genuinely did not enjoy giving him a Zanpakuto because I felt it kind of betrayed everything. Because it's the equivalent of giving Lee ninjutsu, and it wouldn't be the same. I did not enjoy that last aspect of it because I love seeing the transition from he's a serial killer type guy to, oh no, he's just a devoted fighter. And then it's a thing of, oh, he's a devoted fighter who's willing to really handicap himself for a good fight. And the only thing stopping him is himself. All these little things about Kenpachi really made me love him more and more. Because it's like, he's not even evil, really. He's the man who looks scarier than he actually is. Because he is willing to not kill his opponents. He's like, death is so unnecessary. And I really do like that. Yeah, that's another video for me. Another deck writing video, but what you gonna do, right? It's all I know how to do.